Harry,
Ada,
we got a podcast.
we have a podcast. We've been talking about doing this
For 5
for
years.
yeah.
Since-
I was gonna
since the
say a couple
pandemic.
months, but yeah, I think it's actually since the one time I come up to your shop
It was
and we were
5
talking
years
about
ago. Right.
it. That was 5 years ago. But I think we finally found content to talk about, right? That's relevant and that would keep people engaged. So I think the wait is worth it.
The wait is worth it. I think with all the street racing podcasts that have been going out there right now, I think it's about time for show car guys, legendary show car guys, unknown guys.
You're not unknown though, right? Like you did a lot of behind the scenes work.
Yeah.
Right. In the 12-volt world, like
Yeah, it's a whole different scene,
it's a whole different scene. So don't discredit yourself because you had a hand in a lot of the top builds, especially in this area.
Right.
So
Well,
don't discredit yourself.
I'm not discrediting myself. I'm just putting out there what's known entities, right? So Harry, you're very well known for what you've done in your Civic and Team Emotion, and when you brought me on to Team Emotion,
Yeah, I brought you along this year. I felt like it was time to
Work together.
Get you out of retirement. Let's work together on something finally. And
right?
everyone always said it, right? The people that knew you, the people that knew me, that if we got together, that there'd be some trouble. So
Right.
here we go, right? Trying to cause some trouble.
Right.
So.
Now, I want to start by saying thank you to Pat and from Brothers Garage, because this is their joint. They're allowing us to film during their business hours. This is not after hours. This is we're here and they're working, right?
Correct. So if you hear some engine noises in the back, that's what that is.
Right.
So
We just want to support all the shops in the area because we'll probably be filming at most of them.
yeah,
here
and I think that's what's great is that what we have in store, we can film anywhere, right? Like we won't be locked down to one location. So
right. One of the really cool things about like our relationship is that we do have some commonalities as far as like shops. You worked at the shop where I built my first big show car, and a lot of cars were built out of Car Trends. Shout out to Charles and Way.
yeah, we're going that far back, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
But so let's kind of explain to everybody what this podcast is about.
Sure. So from what I understand, right, basically, I've been building cars since '98, right? Whether it's just a mild car stereo or a fully modified build, I'll just say my starting point was 1998. Regular Circuit City car stereo, take it home, do it yourself kit. I started there, and I haven't stopped since. So a lot of people have built a car, stopped, either come back, or they have stopped and not come back, right? So I've been through this whole progression of the import culture, right from the golden era where everything was booming, there were sponsorships, there was lots of money involved, to a time where there was not so much money involved. A lot of big corporate sponsors backed out, but we're still building, and then up to this year where the crew that I helped create, Team Emotion, we celebrated our 20th year anniversary. So I get to bring an insight of the longevity and what I've seen at events, and put my input towards it. So nowhere am I saying that what I see and what I say is correct. Everyone has their own flavor, right? So I'm just gonna say what my flavor is. I got some heat in some other podcasts talking about Civic Type R FK8.
Right.
So the truth is the truth. That's just how I feel.
I mean, there's some things that we agree on, right?
There's
a lot we agree on.
We agree on a lot. We disagree on. So
This is true. I think the more conversation piece, the bigger conversation pieces are where we actually don't agree. Is where
that's what this I feel like this is what's going to bring it out. What's going to make this entire journey so interesting, right? Because I have an insight. You have the same. You might have a different perspective to the same insight.
Of course. I mean, we lived during the same time. I might have started a little bit earlier than you. I started in '93 in audio, not in import car stuff.
I was going to say, before we get there, let's talk about you and where, like, kind of you start, where, kind of like a brief introduction, where, like,
Right.
like I just did.
So I will say that, but I'll say this before I go into detail. We will have an episode where we talk about origin stories. Like if you're a Marvel guy or a DC guy, there's always an origin story for the hero or the villain or whatever, right?
An anti-hero.
You're an anti-hero?
I mean, I am what you need me. I am what I am, bro.
Right. So a little about me. I originally was not going to be into cars. I always liked cars, but I didn't think it would turn into my entire life being cars, right? Owning a shop and doing all the stuff that we do. But I started in car audio. I started loving these big builds the manufacturers were making, and they were a big influence on what I wanted to do as a graphic designer, right? So doing visual things with art and then materials and all that stuff led to, the love of building amp racks and all that stuff, and then the love of music, right? Fast forward, I had some friends that were into Civics and stuff like that, and as you know, Harry might still have nightmares about that Civic, but I mean, there's a whole big story for me in 12 volt, but I mean, I will say that's the beginning, the genesis of my love affair with this kind of stuff. So.
And I think because of that, right? Like that's what kind of makes you credible, right? Like that gives you credibility, right? Like
I mean, quite frank, wherever the credibility comes from, I think it comes from time, right? Just experience. Like we're gonna talk about, like we were talking today about some of this stuff, and we're going back and forth, and talking about the different body kits, and that's what this episode's about. Our first episode 1, it's about body kits, and just the neat thing is going back and forth with somebody that knows the history and can remind you of things. Right, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that we're gonna hit something and then we're gonna like, oh yeah, and then we're gonna go search it, and then that's gonna go
down the.
But as we said, today we're gonna talk about like the history of body kits. Well, not the history, but the progression.
We'll
call it the progression of body kits, right? So when I first got into it, after car stereo, right, it was like, all right, you need to have the looks, right? So we're mainly gonna focus on that on this episode. Let us know in the comments whether or not, you like this format or not. And then, we'll take those into suggestions.
Right.
But,
and then interject any body kits we miss, because there are hundreds and thousands of them.
Yes. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time, but like VW, BMW guys, my knowledge on that is not so great. So I may leave like those out. Right. So
and it's not intentional.
Yeah, it's not intentional. It's just I don't want to disrespect that lineage. Right.
And those Volkswagen guys, man, I don't think they get enough credit in import culture, because the Beetle guys, the Carmen Ghia guys, the Thing guys, all those guys were doing so many badass things before
I almost feel like what they were doing was better than the stuff the imports were doing. It's just the imports had more product to play with. You know what I mean?
I will say traditionally, when you look at builds, when you look at some of the Volkswagen guys, and the Volkswagen guys that crossed over, there's a guy that has a Harlequin. If you're not sure what that is, Gary will put a Harlequin Volkswagen in here, right here. A Harlequin Civic with a Volkswagen VR6 in it. Crazy. That's what you see from Volkswagen guys. Just completely out of left field. I think a lot of the wire tuck stuff, a lot of that stuff came from Volkswagen stuff.
I mean, I think the wire tuck stuff came before, right? Like the Hot Rodders were doing.
Hot Rods were doing, but I mean, Hot Rodders and then Volkswagen
and then the Hondas. Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
But let's get on this body kit thing.
Right. So, looking at the timeline, right? I created a timeline, and I think we could break it down into like 4 quadrants, right? So we'll start off with like when I entered the scene, where everything, what the selection was,
right?
Around then, okay. So,
let's stop. The selection that we knew of.
Yes, the selection that we knew of.
Because there's a huge trick that we didn't know about, and this is And this is kind of close to me because I have an RS kit on my Integrity. Right? Well, what's an RS kit?
Right. So Wings West RS kit was just a replica of Nguyen.
Like, what's the
Which we'll go over. Actually, you know what? Let's just skip to that since we're on Wings West, right?
Right.
So when we first got into it, right, Wings West is going to be where we are all at. So, you know, we didn't know it at the time, but these are actually polyurethane replica kits of Nguyen, right? So
And
whoever's
Nguyen
that
was
Wings,
known as FRP fiberglass parts.
Right. Let me go. So when I talk about the four eras, right? So this is the exception to all these companies that I'm going to say, right? That we're going to go over. The exception to this is Spoon, Mugen, Nismo, TRD, right? Those factory aftermarket companies.
Tom's. Tom's.
Right. Those companies don't count, right? Because throughout the timeline, you're always going to have those select individuals that only went with that. So I think Mugen back then, it's still relevant to the Mugen guys today.
So okay, I would agree. I will agree with that. The only part of that part that I don't really agree with is the complete ignorance of that brand being existent, right? So had I known at the time that what I was, you know me, I don't buy anything copied, right? But had I known that there was something that were the real part as opposed to the fake part, I would have gone and got the real part. So I think that's the asterisk is there for some guys like me. Like, you know, I get a pass for having fake parts this one time. No,
I mean, if we don't know that they're fake at the time, then you know you can't really qualify that, right? So, sorry, let me go through this real quick.
Oh, and the Super Wing, man, the Super Wing or Supra Wing,
Super Style Wing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll go over all that. So example, right? 96 Prelude, that's just the RS kit, right? So you generally it was just an add-on lip to your factory bumper, in the side skirt, right, and then the rear apron. So, I mean that's
for the bumper.
Yep, that's the Prelude. CRX was, I think that was a full bumper replacement.
Full bumper front. So that I had on my Civic. Full bumper replacement front rear, and then it had side skirts and a cap that went on the door. The door cap that you see here was a separate piece that double sit taped on there.
Right. And I think so back in the day there was like, you know, we didn't know how to drive lowered cars, right? So everyone was like, urethane, right? Everyone was scared of fiberglass,
right?
Until you get your first fiberglass, break it, and realize,
it's
not
that big of a deal, right?
It's not that big of a deal,
right?
The DA, right? So again, that's Mugen replica,
right?
Full urethane.
I must say that is a good looking car.
You get a flash tracks.
I saw that car today.
Right, the DC2.
Right.
Add-on. I can't tell you how many Integras back in the day had that lip. So they also had this one where there was no hole.
Yes, on the side. I remember there was.
Yeah.
There was one of our teammates.
Yep. There's this one, but then you know that skirt looks even today super familiar, right? Like
it is almost. I mean, there's some things that you talk about back in the day and this time where the wheels that came off this car were on some Civic, right? And they just looked like it just came like that because there were so many running around like that, right?
So we'll get into this a little bit later.
Yeah.
There's the big mouth generation, right? Which
this is
I
also
think is Gen
RS
2, right? So again, this was the EG, right? The Civic, just the add-on lip right there.
Some of this stuff, man, is super duper clean. It's just a shame that they're old, right? Because
hey, you know, just like Jordans, right? What's old is new. That's why they keep bringing it back out, right? So
well, you're a sneaker guy, so that counts too.
97 Prelude, right? So
love those cars.
96 Prelude rear, right? And then here we go with the front again, and then the DC2 rear, right? So here we go, big mouth 2. So we'll go into that a little bit later. Of course, what pops it all off, right? Import tuner issue number 1. Of course, they run the CRX, the Remix Twins.
Yeah,
I remember getting this magazine.
Those SSR wheels, those So what's funny about those wheels is from this, you guys have to know I am a racing heart guy, okay? I can look at them. Those are not C2s. Those are the SSR versions of those mesh wheels. And I can tell you what it is in about 10 minutes when I remember what the name is.
You need internet for that, man?
I might need it.
So that was Wings West, right? So other kits that were around during that time, I have as Xenon, Wings West, Kaminari, Stillen, Cervini's. Remember the hood that they had on that?
Cervini's hood, yeah. There's a Mustang hood that
I can bring that up.
You normally see those hoods on Mustangs back in that time.
Right. So this is the cowl. I think there was a hole on the inside, so you're looking out. I even saw people back and they put gauges in there.
Yep.
Right.
So this particular car, I've never seen this rendering before, but this car been around with this really, I've never seen this bumper before. Is that their bumper?
I believe so.
This is hot. I like it.
This is more of.
This is what you would see.
Right. This is what you first saw.
Yeah. There was a shop that was local to us, New Again. I don't know if you remember those guys, where they did a lot of Cervini's stuff, and the Eagle Eye headlights.
And this is like the Gen 2 clear corner, right?
Yes.
This is what Euro clear.
Euro clears, yeah.
Is what they call them, right? So, and then of course the rear end
sniper kit. That's what it was called.
The Cervini sniper kit, right? But I mean, generally, especially on the hatchbacks, you ran front, side, rear, sub kind of mid wing, and then the top wing, right? So, that's Cervini's. My favorite, obviously, is going to be Xenon. So I'm going to bring that up real quick.
You had a Xenon kit on your car?
Of course I did.
Okay.
So Xenon CRX. So remember around then it was either this, Wings West,
yeah. There was not really a lot of options.
So the Mustang, just so people can kind of, I remember that that brand, right? So this was the Civic kit.
So the first big winning car, Dan from East Coast Honda, he had that in black with it looked like the tearaway graphics from HKS. You remember that?
Yep.
We'll have to get a picture of that car one day.
Yep, I remember this bumper. You needed a specific fog light
to
for
fit
that.
in there. Was it a Pia light or was it a?
No, it was not a PLA.
It
was something that it was here, and then the dome had to come out to fit in there.
Oh,
it was
I know
crazy.
What light you're talking about.
Yeah,
it looked like
Pilot,
a flashlight.
I want to say Pilot.
It might, but the light looked like a flashlight. It was black. And
yes,
I remember.
The side skirts, urethane. Let me tell you, I had that, and it was the worst side skirt. Like it would never sit flush
because it would just be flapping.
Yeah, right. Double sided, no.
Yeah,
it was terrible. And then the rear bumper. I don't have a picture of rear bumper, but rear bumper, like that urethane, you had to put in extra support bars for that thing
because it was floppy.
It was floppy.
Yeah,
super floppy, right? So,
well, for anybody out there, if you want to know the science behind that, why the front bumper wasn't like that, because of all the angles. So anytime you take anything plastic and you put bends in it, it gets stronger. A little cardio knowledge there for you guys.
So fast forward to Xenon on the DC5 or the RSX. I'm glad we didn't really see this. I don't ever think I ever saw this in real, in person.
I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I don't like this car at all. I hate it.
This was for the 96 Civic, right? So again, like I said, once we start going into the different eras, I think they were kind of stuck on the big mouth, right? So as we moved on to cleaner things.
Absolutely. But this car in this picture had to be 99 or on, because this is a 99 or 2000
You're
SI.
right. You're right. Fast forwarded a little bit too much there. So we did Cervini's. And then I think
Stillen is a good one to go to.
Oh yeah.
This time.
So Stillen, I'll just go over here. So
super popular.
This lip right here was on everything.
Everything.
Just it was always a touring style with it, right?
Yep.
So if you had this lip on the back, you had a touring wing, right? It was almost automatic.
Yeah. I remember, and it's not her car, but you remember Janine Sims? She was probably one of the first people with that lip. I remember.
Yep. That was urethane also. So. Yes. I just remember a lot of urethane. And it's funny too, because when I was working at the shop, when we would unpack it, it was all folded up.
Right. Well, that was half of the battle, right? So a box for a urethane thing would come kind of like that box right there. You're going to put it like the whole stupid thing would be in a box like that, whereas the box for a fiberglass bumper was
Freight.
the size of the bumper.
Yeah,
right?
it had to go freight, right? Because it was fiberglass.
They would fold those suckers up. That's right.
This is a little bit dated, kind of with the Xenon kit, right? So that was still trying to do their thing, and Stillen was mostly for Maximas, or sorry, Nissan, right? So I didn't grab those pictures, but I mean that was there too.
So guys, you guys have to understand when we talk about this stuff from this perspective and this time, Harry and I were both Honda guys at the time. So I had the DA GSR, Harry, same car he has now, the Civic. He just started playing with. So a lot of this reference is going to be Honda centric. Again, post in the comments if you want us to touch on other stuff or you guys want to conversate about that.
So that was all the stuff that we could get here, right? So let's talk about some of the harder stuff to get back in the day, right? So what I'm going to do is, I think back then, when I was flipping through the catalog, this company really stood out to me, right?
Yes.
Veilside, right? And I think this is great because we'll transition this going into the next era, right? Because this is when like that big mouth aggressive style started.
It's like, so I remember the copy of this wing was called a combat wing.
I think it wasn't a Terminator. I think it was Terminator wing, wasn't it?
There are all kinds of names for this wings. But I mean, this is the most beautiful, ugly shit that you can think of, right? It's so different and out there that you're like, damn, that's badass. But again, not really my flavor. The wheels, I still want a pair of.
I mean, those wheels now you can get those wheels now. It's still relevant, right? So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Obviously the R34. That was the Veilside kit.
This
for that.
is beautiful, and this is actually not the rendering. This is the car.
Yeah. So this car again, Veilside. Imagine this car in red with like a silver thing on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we seen that before?
A couple times. Seen that a couple times.
Right. So before Fast and the Furious.
Oh, this is the car.
This is the car.
Oh yeah, this is the car from Fast and Furious.
This is the car from Fast and Furious.
Shout out to Craig Lieberman. He's got a whole series on these cars and where they came from. But this is the actual car, the red Dom's RX-7.
Yep. And then there's the back of it.
Veilside Combat.
Yeah. Right. So, Veilside was a real popular company. I thought back then they were top of the line. I think when we talk about JDM, right?
Bomax bumper, yeah.
I mean, Bomax, right? Like those that couldn't afford Veilside were like, oh, what's the next thing? Like, let's go Bomax, right? So from bumper, kind of unique. Also the mirrors, right? Those were hella unique.
Yep. So what's neat about this car, especially this whole kit that's on this car, we go back to that Fast and Furious thing where the car that Hector drove to buy the engines was not this car, but had this kit. No, it didn't.
No, it didn't. Hector's car.
I was wrong.
It had something else.
Had something else, but I mean, this gives me that flavor of that car. I apologize. I was wrong about something. Imagine that.
Right, so again, DC5 in Bomax. This was the EG, right? With the, I think it had the first like wing that was like flared out like that, right?
Yeah.
So
before the feels.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't do feels.
We'll get there, right? So the Integra, obviously Bomax, they were known for their loud graphics as well. I don't even remember that.
Yeah, I mean, and this is also pre
Fast and Furious. Actually, didn't the blue Integra have the Bomax kit on there? The one that didn't make the movie, Mia's car? I could be wrong.
It did have a Bomax kit.
It did have a Bomax kit, right?
Purplish car?
No, it was blue. It was baby blue.
Was it?
Okay. Yeah. I just want to go over this one car right here. Obviously, back then, the Blitz kit. The Blitz kit on Supra. Very, very popular as well.
Super popular. I mean, this is, you talk about the starter pack for certain cars at that time. This is part of the starter pack for that.
And then, obviously, back then, Top Secret, right?
The end all be all.
Yeah.
To this day.
I think Top Secret.
I love that kit.
R34, S15. So, for me, like that was coming into it. Like those were the harder to get kits, and then we went over the stuff that was readily available. Most of this JDM stuff was all fiberglass, right? So
Yep. But it was the reason that fiberglass got such a bad name is because
that's just because we didn't know how to handle it.
we didn't know how to handle it. But these guys were building kits at lightning speed, right? So this stuff had to be in a mold, out of mold, and in a box before it was a little bit ready. And I don't mean dry. Fiberglass has kind of a state where it will shrink, right? If it's out of the mold too fast. So a lot of times when you would get these kits in, these kits are, weeks old, days old. I don't want to say days, that's just ridiculous. But you get the kit, but the kit hadn't finished doing its thing and it would shrink. And that's how these body shops used to hate these things, because the mold was right. A little bit of, like, you shrink a couple millimeters every direction, nothing's gonna fit. So this is another reason why fiberglass was not really welcomed. Big mouth.
Yeah, so I want to transition into what I think is the second quadrant, right? So big mouth, right? This is when Shogun styles, big mouth. I call it the big mouth era, right? Because everything got a little bit more wild, right? You had it was Veilside style combat, Shogun, whatever you want to call it.
Shogun.
And
right?
even though I believe Irabuni probably fits more into the first gen, I think
it's kind of straddling both.
Yeah,
like
I think it's more, to me, I think it was more in this era, because cars that needed that combat kit, Veilside kit, like, that's where we would go.
Right.
Right? Like Irabuni had it, right?
Right.
Now, again, I think just like we realized about Mugen, what did we realize about Irabuni?
Realized Irabuni was copying Veilside, copying, Bombex, copying all these JDM stuff. We didn't realize it at the time.
Right.
So to watch all those guys with all these crazy kits, I think Vinny 10, if you guys know who he is, legendary racer, had this badass Supra with a Irabuni body kit. He was sponsored by those guys. So you can see,
like, you can see this red Prelude with a big mouth kit. I think it's perfect, right? So you got the old
and the
new, right? RS kit with
big mouth kit.
With the big mouth kit side by side there on that Prelude.
That's a local picture too.
Civic. How many times I see this bumper around, man? Like, it's crazy, right? So let's talk about Shogun.
How many times do you sell that bumper?
A lot. Let's talk about Shogun style, right? What's Shogun style? Bam! You remember this style? Remember when all the cars were running around with this crazy ass style with the fangs and all this extra fiberglass that cracked and
yeah. But I mean, to go back to that stuff, these guys were the guys that were building show cars and they were trying to murder you, right? They hadn't gotten to the phase of their life where they're like, oh, less is more, right? They're just like, more is more. You see these guys with the Z3 fenders and still in spoilers, and we had one that looks very similar to this locally, Aurelio's car, the blue Accord wide body. We had a good nickname for that car.
I just remember being on Rockville Pike and seeing tons of these cars, right? So again, and that, we didn't go over. I think this time, so on this blue car, right, we see the Z3 BMW Z3 fenders, right? So that was huge. I remember when
big deal
when those came out, because then after Z3 was the SLR fenders. That went on and on and on.
Right.
And then on this one, we don't forget about the MR2 vent.
That was huge.
Right?
I almost did that.
I'm
happy I didn't.
I always wanted that, but you're right. I'm glad I actually didn't get it. But if I think I would have done it, I would have wanted that. I had that line.
Follow the body line. Yeah. So again, the one thing about body kits, and for me, why this would never work for me is none of these lines worked. Right?
Yeah, actually, if you look at it, right? It's not. Hey, there's a spoiler you were talking about, actually.
Yeah.
Right, that was the saline spoiler that a lot of people ended up putting on their extreme rides, right? Or
we
style
have to do an episode on just body mods. I mean, you, king of body mods, right? And me, like, But I have a lot of body mods too, but they're so subtle. It's not like a
Yeah.
changing of the car's identity so much.
I think during this era, let's talk about MR2 vent, right? So this is the MR2 vent on a Civic.
That looks good, you know.
I still think it should. Wow, look at this gap right here.
When you got a gap that big in a picture this far away, it's bad.
I still think right here it should have had. You know how the MR2 had that line in it in that vent? I think that would have just.
If you could make it, if you could keep the molding, this thing's got shaved molding, so you could keep the molding and then have the MR2 molding match up with that. We're so much further along in looking at the car and seeing how the line goes now than we were back then. You know what I mean?
What else do we got here? Extreme Kit, I think is the next. So Street Fighter, right? So let's talk about Street Fighter. So there was the Street Fighter 1. Back then, right? We are doing headlight conversions.
Yep.
So S15 headlight, Street Fighter 1
With the MR2
vent, right? So I can tell it's Street Fighter 1 because Street Fighter 1 didn't incorporate the super turn signal that can go right here. Street Fighter 2 looks very similar, a little bit more rounded, but you can incorporate the super turn signal into it.
Right.
So
that's your expertise right there, bro. You knew something that I didn't even know.
Actually, here's the next thing, right? So on the Blitz kit, it's the same thing. You can run the super turn signal in there. Right. What car is it? Civic?
No, dude, that's
Focus?
a Paseo.
Well, anyway, so
That's a
back to what I'm saying. Back
Right.
then, right? Like Blitz kit on every car, right?
Yes.
Like, boom, Blitz kit there, Blitz kit on your Integra, Blitz kit on your Integra, Blitz kit on your Civic. Hey, saline spoiler on that one as well. Man, look at that. You used to be able to win shows looking like that, man. Are those vinyl? Those are vinyl headlights.
Are those
No, they're not.
5-axis wheels?
Yeah, that's the that's Touring Cups.
Touring Cup, okay.
Touring Cups. And then that's the original, right? So, hey,
Not
just for you.
5-axis wheels.
Just for you, man.
Just for me.
Blitz on the
On the
is that
DA.
your color too?
No. Oh, my car was originally red.
So
Your car was originally red too, right?
no, my car was
Black.
originally black with a splash of green in it.
You denied all of it. You denied it.
Back then, also, right, Cali Type R, right, where we were using
Andy's Autosport.
Andy's Autosport. I don't have an example of
We'll
it.
have to put it in right here. Gary's going to put it right here.
Yeah, I'll find a picture and put it right there. Actually, it's crazy, right? Because I talked to a guy on Instagram, X Ricer X. Like he used to have 2 Cali Type R's, one white, one blue. He just sold the blue one. He's down in Northern California.
It's a funny story about the blue one.
The blue one's over here.
It's over here?
It's over here in New Jersey now.
Oh wow. You guys will likely see it in different iterations of this podcast as it matures.
But what he did to the white one, when I talked to him, right, he's real like true to the era, right? Like there's certain things that I talked to him about, and he's like, I don't know why you did that, and I'm like, well, I'm trying to like keep up with the Joneses, you know what I mean? And he's like, nah, like if you're gonna be period correct, stay period correct. Like he still got wire loom, right? Like he still got the wire loom. Like I can't do the wire loom, but I mean, props to him. I talk to him probably once every 2 weeks.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so props to him. Check him out. x.ricer.x, I believe his name is.
Yeah, I follow him. There are a bunch of pages that you and I follow that are kind of about this time period, and that's the 2000s page. Those guys are super cool, and there's a lot of enthusiasm for this. And back in the days, your car's been featured on there. My car's been featured on there. Nguyen's car's been featured.
And then, so again,
Money Club.
let's talk about JDM, right? So C West, I'm an idiot for not having C West photos, but honestly, if you don't know what C West is, JDM, then like,
you'll just need to learn. You'll just need to learn.
I shouldn't have to show you. But Buddy Club, right? How many cars did we see with this kit on? Right here it is on your. Is that a Cougar?
That is a Cavalier.
Cavalier. The domestics, man. Sorry.
Well, that car was available in Japan as well.
Wasn't this car? I'm just kidding. Buddy Club, full Buddy Club on your Civic.
Right.
So again, you look at that engine bay, like what's that?
The wire loom. That's the metal wire loom.
It's like spaghetti to me, but
with the Integra seats.
Yeah, but you got the Buddy Club kit sides as well.
Hold
There
on,
it
go
is.
back.
Oh,
But this is
sorry.
more important. The M5s. Got to have the Racing Heart wheels.
So I don't want to start talking about wheels with you, right? Because we'll be here for like another 2 hours. So
We'll be here for 2
we're
days.
We're gonna, because I know you're a wheel whore. So
Yeah.
we're gonna save that for like a
I
totally
know.
different episode.
I know, but
I'm just gonna let you
whenever
do
I
your
see
thing.
Racing Hearts, we got to talk about Racing Hearts. M5s.
All right, so we're talking about Buddy Club. So we're probably editing. So basically, we talked about Integra. All right, so 96 Civic. So remember when this kit came out for the 96 Civic? This was everywhere.
Everywhere. I think that there were more of this body kit than the factory front bumper. I think there's a shortage of Civic front bumpers from this time to now. I'm not even joking. I'm being dead serious. I think that there's so many front bumpers that were modified during that time. It's not even funny.
I think this is when it started to go back to like
Cleaner.
big mouth to a little bit cleaner, right? And not only that, but I think about this time, a lot of people were doing a lot more performance upgrades. So you had that big ass space for that intercooler, right? So a lot of B motors, right? Because K motors weren't out yet. So B motors with big
boost,
right?
big boost,
So,
right?
But not only that, but I mean the line. Like I run this side skirt on my car,
Right.
and it's just so clean, right? It's just like flat. There's no like curvatures to it. It fits most body lines.
Well,
So-
what's cool about that is it lends itself to being molded because it's so flat where all the pieces kind of land on the fender and then the quarter panel.
Well, so what sucks is that back piece, depending on what mold you got out of,
It likes to turn.
yeah, right. So I remember the first time I had that, I actually riveted that into the car and then just put like a emblem over it. That's what I had to do on that back piece. But then when
You molded it.
yeah, when we redid the car, we just molded it. And then the back bumper, right? Like
One of the
so
best back
clean.
bumpers. Yeah, I love
So
that back
clean.
bumper. Is that what you have now?
That's exactly
Okay.
what I have. And then inside the vent, we did that in like a flat black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So that's when everyone was doing like, oh, let's how to
That-
change it. You know.
That cleaner race car looking rear end.
Actually, not only that, but I put in the STR speed holes or the diffuser, right?
Yep.
And then instead of having the holes emptied, I put mesh behind it, right, to give it a little bit more detailed look, right? So that was Buddy Club. So I know earlier we talked about C West. Let's give you guys an example of C West, man. It's not right that we don't do this, right?
Yeah.
So C West, man, like DC5.
Yeah, a
This was just a
DC5
lip, right?
conversion
But this
with
was the
that.
whole front bumper, which
But
was,
you had to have the conversion because there was no USDM version, right?
yeah. And then the rear bumper, like so clean, man.
And the RSX example with the graphics, oh man, love it, love it.
I never saw that wing.
Which wing?
This one right here.
Josh used to have that wing.
I remember Josh.
It's just really awesome going back and going through all these pictures and just it puts you at the time when we were there, you know.
So we talked about
Those hot car shows where the asphalt was burning your eyes.
and I think VIP started to really pop up around this time. So Junction Pro, like
Junction
kits like
Produce.
Junction Produce, those came around.
Yeah, I'm not really that versed on the VIP stuff. It just wasn't always something that I was interested in. You know, I was kind of into the turbo Hondas. You know what I mean?
I think another brand that started coming up right then was Vertex.
Vertex.
Right.
What a fucking beautiful car these are, man.
So this was on the S15, right? Little choppy photo, but here comes one of my favorite photos.
Yep.
Right, one of the best to have ever done it, right? Jason Pham. This is his latest rendition.
car is serious.
of
Car is the serious.
yeah,
is
S15.
serious.
It's
Undefeated, you said, right?
I think he lost one time. Don't quote me on that.
Right.
I think it is on. I mean, SEMA car, Battle of the Builder, top 3, I believe.
So just getting away from body kits for half a second. On this car, if you just look at the use, and again, we're talking about your eye moving around the car, the direction of your eye, and all that stuff. The body kit's supposed to make the car look faster. This car is a great example of using things like if you were to tell me like, yo, we're gonna do this midnight purple car with yellow, I'd be like, no, it works. It works 100%.
Yeah. Right. He's even got the wide body on there. So, yeah. I mean, it just, and you know what? With him, I think it was through experience, right? Because he had built his hatchback.
Which put a Buddy Club kit, right?
No.
What kit did he have?
He had a charge speed lip.
Speed, another one.
Yeah, so he had charge speed lip on there. He had all on his spoons, charge speed. He did all that, and then from there he built his Lexus GS, which was a VIP.
That's like a drift car style.
Well, they ended up categorizing it as a GT VIP car, but that car was strictly GT.
Yeah, it was a performance car.
It was definitely a performance car. So,
cover of Import Tuner too, right?
So he was cover Super Street with the GS, and then within 12 months, he had this cover.
Wow!
I almost think it was exactly 8 months later. This ended up on the cover.
So, these guys built this guy's series builder. Shout out to Team Emotion. Wait, that's us.
But you know what? When we talk about Vertex, right? I mean, that's the S15, right? A lot of people may or may not know what the S15 is, but the first car that brought me to Vertex, right, was the Vertex RX-7, right? Mm-hmm. So here it is in the green rendition, the Apex drift car.
That car is iconic.
Hey, look at this.
It's going down in history.
Another Team Emotion. another Team Emotion car. Right off Google, right? So, I mean, that's what really did it. This car was import tuner, right? So this RX-7 Vertex, like, I think this is when it really started to pop off. This brand really started to pop off. So
with the GT wheels, and again, we're not going to get into wheels, but a lot of wheels complemented themselves to an actual body kit, right? Mm-hmm. The GT wheels for drift cars are, as you know, I'm a huge fan of GT wheels.
Let's talk about
let's
go back, right? Let's go back to
California
look at this.
Type R.
Right off the bat. This is my guy, right?
That's
the Ricer X car, right? Right there. That's him right there too. Man, he's on a lot of this.
This is a famous car as well.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what that graphics on the side is? I bet you don't. How much of a nerd are you, man?
The spaceship thing.
What spaceship? What's it called, man?
Monscroft or whatever.
Matt Cross.
Robotech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me my points. I'm a nerd too. Fool.
But yeah, so Cali Type R, right? So we replaced the bumper, and then you use the CL
headlights.
I almost thought that was cheating, right? Because those headlights like fit into, like pressure fitted into the bumper.
It was ghetto. It was ghetto. Right. But everything in that period of time is an experiment. Everything is experiment, right? And
he's everywhere on here, man.
Yeah.
Well, he even
famous car.
Yeah, he even had the MR2 van, right? It works on that car. I'm not a fan. On the Tegra.
I'm not a fan. I think that kit, honest to God, would be better if the headlights were shaped. No headlights.
It's gotta have headlights, man.
No, I understand that. I'm saying if you're going full-blown show car, imagine that. I just think the headlights don't really work in the area they're in. They're so low. That's just me. Yeah. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. I hate it.
But that's what we talk about when we talk about Cali Type R, right? And then obviously we talk about Big Mouth, right? So off the success of Wings West Big Mouth, we go to Big Mouth 2, right? So there it is. Thank you, producer. Gary, our producer on this, by the way. Thank you very much for doing this for us. So Big Mouth 2, right? So this is going to be Big Mouth 2. So a little still Big Mouth, but super aggressive.
Gets more aggressive.
Gets
super aggressive here.
Right. So that was that on that car. I think I got a couple.
I can't wait for the wheel episode. I really can't wait.
Look, this one has a clear hood.
Clear hood.
Remember clear hood? I was just watching something. They didn't talk about clear hoods.
Yesterday, we were watching your thing with the pass mag thing. The Z had the clear hood.
You mean the episode where they told me I was going to get into feature?
Yes, Harry. That episode. Harry is going to get his feature in pass mag. Congratulations.
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is, like, I was just talking to some of the guys, right? And they were like saying, I'll be pissed if all you did was dust that thing off and that thing ends up on the cover. And to be honest, like, resume for that car, that's the only thing that's missing.
So I'll say this about that car, and then we're not going to make this podcast about you. But I'm going to say this about that car. I think that, like, it's got his doctorate in car show. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of guys can talk about this and that, but like when you talk about a car that's been around and done everything, it's got its lineage, it's got its heritage, and it's got its PhD in car show. So it deserves all the flowers that it's getting right now.
Let's talk about. So that was that era, right? So I think that era we went from big mouth and then we transitioned into like smaller, more clean, right? Mm-hmm. So when we talk about the next era, right? I want to talk about Street Fighter 2, right? Charisma. Do you remember that?
Charisma.
Black Widow makes its appearance.
Oof. That's kind of like, now we're getting to the after Fast and Furious.
Yeah, that's where we're at, right? So
3-ish.
Yeah, so I have here in this era, Buddy Club 2, Wings West Big Mouth 2. Mm-hmm. I think APR started to make its appearance, right?
APR. So the funny thing about APR is that I think their kits were really nice, but they were.
I think it was the wrong platform.
Yeah,
right?
You didn't see them.
Yeah. It's on the Celica.
Celica and S2000.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the S2000. Yeah. The Skyline R33, R34 kits that were on every car, almost like the Blitz, right? It was the new Blitz.
It was a new Blitz, but I think, again, that's another body kit that was kind of grafted from other stuff. It wasn't really a real thing. That's a famous car, isn't it? That green car?
So
the Street Fighter 2 kit we were talking about, you were saying earlier there were some differences.
Right. So the Street Fighter 1 was a little more sharp, right? Mm-hmm. And that's because on this one they bubbled it out so you could put the super turn signal in there.
Right. Now I noticed the lip is a little bit more extended.
Right. Like here's I don't know why I say this is Street Fighter 1.
Right.
Right. This is Street Fighter 2. It's got the vent in here.
It's more angular on the edges.
This one's closed off.
Yeah.
Right. So this is Street Fighter 2. Now this bumper 1 and 2 was made for every application.
Right.
So it was just a matter of rewiring and putting that super turn signal on there.
Right. Right. So it's not uncommon to see fakes of some of this stuff too, right? Like, so you would know that the kit is for a specific car, and you wouldn't know the brand until, I mean, it just all depends on your body guy. If your body guy was a good body guy, you can get away with a copy all day, right? But we had 2 shops here. We had Gary's Best. We had.
I'm not saying it.
Larry's Less. They're both out of business. They're gone.
But you know,
right?
Out of respect, I don't do that, right? Like, but
I did. I think I got that quote from him. Just saying.
But anyone that ever put on their own kit knows, right? Like when it comes out of the box, I remember seeing blue gel coat. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna fit, right? Or I saw the yellow. I was like,
no good,
ooh.
No good.
Right? Even when it came out white, I was like, oh,
it's a crapshoot.
50-50, right?
It's a crapshoot.
I was like, but for some reason, the Veilside stuff, I think that stuff came white, and it
still comes white.
Fit perfect.
Still comes white.
I think fit perfect. I don't know what it is over there, man. Their molds are better.
Well, again, we talk about molds and this fiberglass stuff, carbon fiber stuff, all that stuff has to be in the mold until it sets up. Once you take it out of the mold and it's still, doing its thing, it's gonna want to do weird stuff. The mold locks it into place. So once it comes out, and they're selling 30, 40, 50 bumpers a day, right? That's just gotta go.
Yeah, there's no quality control there, right?
Right.
So I remember putting one in, right? You line it up, you start in the middle, and then you work your way to the side, right? I remember, all right, middle's in, side's in, and then you go to the other side.
It's either like long or short, right?
Like, yo, like
what happened here?
Right, and then when you tell them, oh, it doesn't fit, It's like, oh, come to my body guy, right? Bring it to my body guy. We'll make it fit. And then they're like, no, this thing don't fit. Like, it's actually a defective bumper.
Right.
And then, back then, when you ordered a body kit, it was, you got to wait till the shop is filled a box. Like, we're not going to order
container, right? You're not going to order one thing. You're going to order a bunch of stuff.
Because you could fit, like, I think 2 full body kits in one shipping box. And that's the way, or maybe 3. I think you can fit 3.
So I wasn't privy to that.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we had came in boxes like this, because it's all car stereo. So
yeah, no, we had
came easy,
gigantic boxes. So let's talk about after Street Fighter 2, or same time as Street Fighter 2. Again, every car had this Skyline R32 kit, or they had, here's another one, R32 kit. Oh, here's another one, R32 kit. Ooh, that's a bad picture. The lip fell off.
Oh yeah, it did.
But as you can see, it was R32. And if it wasn't R32, it was a R34 kit.
Right.
Again, body conversions. You see the MR2 sides, the MR2
side skirts,
not side skirts, MR2 vent
and the this car's wide body with S15 front.
Yeah.
Ready turbo kit.
This is wide body before wide body, right? Like this was nuts. And then as for like JDM side, right? I think this is when Charge Speed, right, started to make its entrance into the industry. So you see a lot of these Charge Speed kits here.
I love Charge Speed. I think Charge Speed had the design elements that a lot of the other brands, the higher end brands, didn't have. It's just cleaner, way cleaner.
I remember seeing it on the Subaru. I was like, wow, it was just something just totally different. The RSX as well. I mean, that one looked good.
I kind of think that you're either a Charge Speed guy or a Bomex guy.
Yeah,
Bomex
agreed.
Guy.
But I think people got tired of Bomex. Charge Speed was just a lot cleaner.
I like Charge Speed.
I think it was more Charge Speed or
and I felt like Charge Speed's a little more, or C West again, another.
I think you either C West, Bomex,
or Charge Speed.
Or C West and Charge Speed. Right.
Well, so the Charge Speed stuff and the C West stuff kind of had a similar type of style.
Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna skip over what we got next. Jay's Racing, right? I think if
shout out to Isaac,
makes its way into the industry as well. I think this is a little further on, right? Because right now all we see is all the S2000 kits, and then they came out with the wide body. But that's all we really see, right? Because I guess that's all they're known for. But like they had other kits,
some tops and some
right.
Other
There's
stuff.
the one on the Integra, like. So I think Jay's Racing starts to make their entrance, and then they're still relevant today, right? Like even more than back then,
right?
So Jay's Racing makes their way in. Backyard Special makes their way in.
Another just boutique body kit that's not like known by all folks.
I love this kit on the
Civic.
EK, right?
So
because
badass.
It was glass on top and it had the either Kevlar or carbon fiber on the bottom, right?
I'll probably do that in my Civic.
I was always a fan of that.
It's just a clean. It's almost OEM.
Yeah.
With the look.
And then BN Sports, right? So I think
that's my least favorite.
You don't like BN Sports?
It's drift car stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of drift car stuff I'm not really into.
But then this is when I think it was it Formula Drift? What was before Formula Drift? Grand Prix.
Oh, I don't know. Oh.
There was one called Drift. Okay, there was one called Drift, DRFT, right? There was that, and there was some other series going on. So this is when like all the drift cars started coming into play. Right. But I mean, you look at their kits, almost similar to Vertex. I won't say similar to Vertex, right?
I don't think there's a lot of. I personally don't think there's a whole lot of variety with BN Sports. You're gonna look at one thing.
It's very distinct. It's very like.
Yeah.
I mean, they all look like this, right?
Right. So that one has a lot more. Because
this one's wide body. This one's wide body.
Right.
Right. But then he didn't put the door cap on.
Right.
He left the door cap off. Right?
I think because it accentuates the whole thing. You can see more of the.
But BN Sports had that bubbly feel. I think that's what takes away from it.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
And then backyard. I think we go back now, right, to the granddaddy, right? The Field Civic, right? Feels.
I don't care who you are in this game. If you just got in and you don't know anything about the Fields body kit or this car, please do your research on this. This is one of the greatest show cars of all time.
I'm just gonna go out and say it. It is the greatest, right? Because you get a guy like LJ Garcia, right? And he created Ichiban. Audioban.
He
Well,
created
Audioban
Ichiban and Audioban were the same company.
Right.
Ichiban was the accessories. Ichiban was accessories, and
Audioban
was the audio.
Right. So, I mean, right off this, right? Not only that, but he brought Haynes into the industry.
He bought a lot. Talk about like just the pinnacle of import car, show car, race car stuff. Haynes, your underwear.
It was Michael Jordan. It was just Michael Jordan.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Michael Jordan and LJ.
Right.
Right.
That's crazy.
But it was not only that, but you know, something that we didn't go over, and again, this is one of those tangent points that I'm talking about, right? Okay, so before we took our break, we talked about the Field Civic. We're talking about LJ Garcia and his impact on the industry, bringing in Haynes and you know, it was Michael Jordan.
And we discovered Fields.
And we discovered Francine D also.
Well, I'm not really a Francine D fan.
Oh, there it is, man. I think this was the 3rd issue of Import Tuner.
That car in blue was just all that.
By the way, anyone got this pin that wants to send it to me? I wasn't in California for that, so if you want to send it to me, I appreciate that. Damn, look at that audio in that car, man.
The blue car had a way better system. The blue car was just
Here's the blue one right here.
blue. I don't know if you could see the audio though. Like the yellow wrapped interior. Oh my god, that car was so nice. In comparison.
All right, so let me get back, right? So, I had this discussion, right, and I want to see where you are. I think I know where you are, right? So, were you an LJ guy, or were you an RJ guy?
RJ. You know that.
Right. I had a feeling, right?
You knew that.
So LJ brought certain things,
Yeah.
and RJ brought certain things, right?
So, and we talked about this when we were planning for the show. The Veilside MR2.
I didn't do that. I didn't get that. Veilside MR2.
The Veilside MR2 is probably one of the most sexiest versions of that. There's nothing. I mean, I would get an MR2 just to do that body kit. Just to do it.
Oh my god, I hope RJ's comes up right
there. It is.
Boom,
right there.
There it is. Right, the yellow one especially. I remember this came out in a diecast car. I had to have it, man.
Badass.
Yeah, I had to have it. Right?
Car is just one of the cars that if you got an opportunity to see LJ's builds, they were very, very RJ's. I'm sorry. They were very clean, and very. I mean, you know what I like.
Yeah, very clean. So that was I think that was my favorite build of his. Obviously, he has the NSX. He's got the Mugen S2000. You know, he's had tons of cars, but what he did with this MR, because when I saw the MR2 Spider, like,
at the what is
showroom,
this? Right, what is this?
Like, oh my god! Like,
and this just transforms that car into something totally different.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at that car and you're like, Porsche vibes, right? Like Boxster, hopped up Boxster vibes.
Yeah. Let me segue into. We did not talk about one thing. Sorry. How can we go and not talk about this kit? Sorry. This is the last. I think this was the last crazy. Like, everyone had this kit.
I was never on board with this kit. I think it's the ugliest kit ever.
So, Black Widow.
Shout out to Elliston.
Elliston's car looked just like this.
Looked just like that.
Ground Designs 2000, Black Widow. Eventually ended up coming with Black Widow 2, which to me looked exactly the same. Yeah. I just remember tons of cars having this kit too. I always call it the import tuner starter pack, which was the Black Widow. No, sorry, Buddy Club kit with the Black Widow spoiler, right? Like,
yes,
that was at every show in every color, right? Yes. So, but Black Widow kit, was everywhere. There it is on your Integra.
It is probably the worst. The reason why that kit's so bad is if you look at the rear bumper, it is a flat panel, right? It is completely flat. Can you go back to that?
Oh yeah, the Integra. Yeah.
So you will never ever see a piece of fiberglass that's molded coming out of a mold flat. It would look like the Pacific Ocean, wavy as fuck. So
no,
I had a
but
big
what I
problem with
didn't like
that.
was you see how it's got the block off,
Right.
right? Like I didn't like that. Like,
No.
this car had to have dual exhaust, and then
And dual exhaust is whack.
And you had single overhead cam motors with dual exhaust.
Right,
It was
it's
like,
whack. It's whack. Extra
right?
noise.
So
Let's go back to this before you go away. This car had shave moldings, so so the suspect actually looks like some Photoshop here. But these sides, they don't fit the car. Terrible. Shame on you, Grounds Designs 2000. Shame on you.
but the wing, I mean, the wing was
The wings are right.
yeah, the wing.
I had something similar. I had a Falcon wing back in the day, which is very close to that wing.
And there's that Cervini's hood again, right? Cervini's hood with M3 gills, right? So, a lot of
This is
mixed
probably your
match.
starter match for your guys that are starting at car shows. You started at a car show and you wanted the wild kit. You got to have the wild hood and you had to have, the white wheels. I don't know what it was with this kit and white wheels.
Do you know what I had? I don't know if you know this. Let's see if you know this, right? So, I think when I was building my car the second time, after I got out of the Xenon phase and I went Street Fighter, I had something called the Iceman hood.
Iceman hood. I remember Iceman hood, but it wasn't clear. It
No,
had
it
a
wasn't
window in it.
clear. No, it didn't have a window in it. It was on LJ's car. His
You had the
EG.
one from his car.
Yeah, I had the one from his car. On the side, it had the gills that went up.
Oh yeah.
So sold that thing, but yeah, that was. I wish.
Little
I still
did
had
you
it.
know.
Yeah, little did I know. Little did I know that all those Mugen parts I used to have that I got rid of were going to be worth a fortune today. But all right, so now we go into like the now, right? So I think this will be a little bit quicker, right? So when I talk about like USDM, right, I almost feel like the scene shifted to like OEM plus.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that everybody was tired of sweeping up their body kits from,
Yeah. So I think OEM
Speed
plus, and then the ones that still wanted to do like some of these, crazier kits have that more aggressive look. They had to go with like I think this is where we introduced like Rocket Bunny and Voltax and Liberty Walk, like those type of kits, right? So I want to start off with Voltax, right? God, if you guys know my stance on FK8s, I almost feel the same way on the Evo. This kit,
It's the starter pack.
it's at
the starter
every show
pack.
if you got an Evo. But you know what? I still love this kit, no matter. Man, if there was
What
a
else
show,
is you gonna put on a car?
I've seen some people do mix Verus and Voltax, right? Like they mix the two, right? But it doesn't even matter, man. Like I remember Joe Kim, he was on my team, Import Tuner. He had a blue one. He matched it with the Graham lights that had the like titanium style lip.
Oh, right.
So that works. So he was the first one that introduced me to this style kit, Cyber Evo. So I'm.
Joe Kim, where's your car now? Where is he?
It's actually Joe Kim's car is actually it's here in Virginia.
Oh wow.
Someone bought it, so I've seen it. I've seen it locally.
That's
Actually, look
kind
at
of
this orange
cool to
one.
see.
Former Emotion car. He's out of New York.
This is not an advertisement for emotion cars. I'll just say that right now.
But again, this kit, like I don't care how many times I see it, I love this kit.
There's just nothing else you can put on that car.
Yeah.
Was
Like,
that-
this is a diecast car. And it still looks good.
I think that the hood is super aggressive and it's awesome. It matches kind of the rest of the car. If you know, so the one thing about the Evo is that car is a derivative of a fucking what's the original car? It's a not a Galant. What's the other thing?
The VR4. The
no,
VR4?
no.
Lancer.
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 And Lancer's such a terrible car. To make the Lancer look like this, it's a pretty big deal, right? Like it's like taking a Yaris and doing something with it.
Actually, here, it's funny. That white and red car,
Uh huh.
that ended up being this orange car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the same car. Same car.
And the color in these cars makes a huge difference.
Huge difference, right?
Yeah.
So,
Shout out to the white Evos.
Rocket Bunny, right? Oh my God.
There was a whole 2000, what do you want to say, 2010 to 2015, where if you didn't have this, you weren't cool.
Yeah, crazy. Some of it is actually pretty cool. I think you brought it up. Oh man, I didn't even put Pandem on the list. Pandem's going to be definitely on there as well.
Yeah.
But Rocket Bunny, man, like, oh, man, like if you had the full kit, like, it was cool. Like,
I think that
I
it's. I think that the GTR guys were the ones that really took full advantage of this kit.
the 350s, the 350s too, right? So we know Amper, one of the co-owners of Brothers Garage,
Right.
Probably the most famous.
Still
actually,
rocking that. Yeah.
Actually, here we go. Oh,
Yeah. Probably one of the most famous 350Zs to date.
it's actually like 20 feet from me right now.
Yeah.
Right over there. But yeah, I mean, that car is absolutely beautiful.
Shout out to Minho Kim, another badass 350Z.
Yep. I don't want to bring that name up because I'm gonna, when we talk about like some of the most influential cars, which I think like we'll do episode 3 or 4, somewhere down the road.
That's gonna be a hell of an episode, guys. You guys are gonna. Some of you guys that are younger may discover some cars that are we can't even find.
Yeah.
We can't find some of these cars.
Liberty Walk was another one, right? So
Liberty Walk's another big one.
Yeah.
Another GTR, R35 car, exclusive. A lot of guys went directly to that kit.
I was actually going to bring up a point before you
Rudely interrupted you.
Not rudely interrupted, but before we went off on another tangent.
Right.
But I remember you telling me one thing, right? When we were looking at all these kits, you said to me at one point, I understand why, that car wins or that car doesn't win. It's like, if it looked like a kid drew it, it's going to win.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. The more insane, more out there, you're gonna win. Yeah. And that's been proven time and time again. The Dragon,
right?
Well, we're gonna have to one day we have some nicknames
people.
from these cars.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find them.
Yeah.
Here's a surprise, maybe not to you, right? Because you actually own this kit on one of your cars, right? Let's talk about the Taimon Designs S2000, right? Yeah. Wow, look at that. Look at that. There it is. I still think you need a wing.
I think this picture right here tells me I don't need a wing.
I think you need a wing on that car. I know we're still trying to find the right set of wheels for it. But
that's the most expensive venture of my life, is trying to find the correct wheels for that car.
All right, so I did this one just for you, right? So the Taimon Designs, you have experience with it because it is on your car.
Yeah, it's a huge pain in the ass.
Tell me about the quality. We talk about widebody, and then I would assume that you found this because no one else has it, and that's why you wanted it on your S2000. Right. So this is kind of like one of those niche brands, right? So like Taimon Designs, I think ASM,
even Jay's Racing.
Jay's Racing.
It's a commitment. Wide body, your car is a commitment to that car.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna cut the car, and that's it. It's gonna be wide body till the end of life. Right. You're not going back. So that's, if you plan on doing any sort of wide body, Taimon, Jay's, what was the other? Rocket
Bunny, Liberty Walk, especially.
Yeah.
Chop City, man.
It's over. Bye quarter panels. It's not coming back. It actually. So before this, I had mini wide body, the veal side over fenders.
The over flares, yeah.
I didn't want to cut.
Just put them right over.
Yeah. But
you want to hear a crazy story?
Had no choice.
So Kit Hong, right?
Yes.
DC5, Vegan DC5.
That's right. He
had a Liberty Walk M3. Boy, he bought that car and took it straight to the shop and chopped it up.
Brand new,
man. I was like, why did you buy a new one? Why didn't you just buy a used one? Right? He was like, nah, man. Like,
he wanted new.
That car actually belonged to the owners of Import Expo now, right? So
That's pretty
they
cool.
rewrapped that car, put new wheels on. Looks
Totally different.
Yeah,
Totally different.
But yeah, it's the same car.
This is not a commercial for emotion cars. I'll just keep saying that.
But again, like right, we talk about like these specialty brands, right? Tamon, who I guess I don't know if they're most popular for their S2000, but you're the only one that I've seen that has that kit.
They're more popular for the wing, for the S2000. The little spoiler.
Interesting.
That's like was a thing back in the day.
ASM I know is another S2000 company that pretty aggressive. Pretty
ASM. I'm going to tell you, and we can get to this at the end. A new kit just dropped for the S. We're going to get to that at the end because it's
I have that. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
But before we get there, there's another car that's near and dear to my heart, and that's IS300. There's a body kit made by a performance company that killed it with this kit, murdered it. One of my favorite kits ever.
Right.
That is,
and the performance company we're talking about, right? HKS.
HKS.
They have this HKS IS300. Absolutely beautiful.
So hot.
Yeah. So I'll just leave it up here.
That during that time, that body kit was available, and 2003, 2004, 2005,
Go on, grab it.
nobody had it.
And it's cool because sometimes I'll walk by an IS300 and look at the rear bumper, and it has the HKS like logo in the back bumper.
Embedded. Yeah, it's embossed.
Badass, bro.
So
Yeah.
badass. It's one of those kits that, like, if you know, you know.
And I think on the topic of HKS, I think their HKS widebody Supra is another car that's just jaw dropping. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kit on that car.
I would love to see this car in real life. HKS has just the fit and finish that no other brand that I've ever seen has. Maybe Gretty.
Yeah. Well, Gretty and Rocket Bunny is the same thing, aren't they?
Yeah.
I believe so, right?
Yeah.
I want to go into one of the last kits, right? So, Varus, right? They're making some noise right now. Their kits, especially like we talked about on the Evo,
Out of this world.
Obviously, it's going to be on the GTR one is there. I remember seeing the Subaru WRX with the Varus kit. I was very impressed with that as well. But Varus at Tokyo Auto Salon dropped
Gabon.
not one,
Two.
S2000 body kits.
I'm just warning you right now. My garage is going to be full of wide body S2000. I'll just tell you that right now.
You're gonna do that?
I'm going to do it.
Are you gonna do? You're gonna do the wide body one, right?
Yeah.
So I saw the carbon. I want to ask you, the carbon on it, right? It had the big squares.
The big square.
You a fan of that?
I think that carbon fiber is the wood grain of the 2000s. I think it's going to have a huge lifespan, and then one day it's going to be over. So the good thing about carbon fiber is you can paint over it, but what I'm probably going to do, I'm probably not going to do the carbon fiber. I think that car will
Just
be...
gonna paint over it anyway.
Yeah, that car will be more street car. Big turbo.
How long have they been working on this kit? Didn't they work on it and then stop?
Yeah.
And then now it's So I know they've been working on this kit for a while, but to see that at Tokyo Auto Salon, 2 versions of it, I can't wait for someone to throw that on their car.
I'm here.
You're here?
I'm here.
Man, you got 50 other projects to finish first before you can get to that.
Well,
one.
this is a street car. This is not... We're not going down the road.
We definitely going down the road. If you got this kit on your car, we definitely going. We're going to go on.
We can only bring
roads.
one. We can only bring one.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
I'll take because the other one is, all the plans you got for that one is crazy.
Yeah.
So that could kind of wraps up right. We talked about timeline. I'm sorry if we forgot certain brands. Right. I know there's tons of brands out there, tons of companies. Like I remember dealing with VIS. We didn't talk about VIS, but VIS. I remember dealing with them. Andy's Auto Sports. Charisma, Irabuni, Kaminari.
We talked about Irabuni, and I think Irabuni has an important place in this list. That we didn't really go deep into it, but we couldn't because they didn't really have their own designs.
Yeah. But again, tell us what you think of the format. Tell us, you know,
What
do
you guys
like
wanna
it?
see.
What you want to see. We plan to like focus just on one thing. Like this one was body kits. The next one I think we're gonna do is wheels. And then eventually, you know,
Wheels is going to be fun because he and I, there's like 3 or 4 wheels we agree on, and the rest is not.
no, totally,
It's not, yeah.
it's totally off,
So,
right?
yeah.
Like you're an Ichiban guy, and I'm more of a Spreewell guy. So,
No, I'm a Spreewell guy. What are you talking about?
but hey, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for Brothers Garage for hosting us today. Thank you for Gary Lost King Media for filming. Thank you, Kit, for co-producing as well. And hope you guys like what we got coming out.
Bye.